In this episode, we continue on with the assembly of the secondary hull and the hangar bay on the 1/350 scale refit model build. That's all coming on right now. Okay, we're back. So here we are with the parts of the hangar and the secondary hull ready to be assembled. I wanted to show a little bit of what I've done so far. Here's the completed hangar bay. And as you can see, I got all the lighting and cables for the outside all set up. I've also managed to complete the lid bar for the hangar bay. That's all ready to go. All we got to do now is install it on the secondary hull and route all these cables through properly so that I can wire them up later. But before I do that, I have to continue working on some of the other parts that I've started for the neck assembly and the hangar bay part. That's going to enable me to install the lighting effects for the back of the hangar before I can assemble the secondary hull. Last night I painted these and got them ready to at least get the light blocking done, and now I have to do the priming and painting of these parts on the outside so that I can start putting things together. So the challenge is going to be installing all of these parts in the secondary hull while still running the lights for the hangar bay and getting all of these parts to fit properly and glue them together. Today we continue on mocking up the secondary hull with the hangar bay and trying to get all of the wires situated in place so that I can mount this piece and get the arboretum in place. That's going to be a challenge because there's no easy way to install the arboretum, the hangar bay, and this panel so that once it's all put together I can then install it, seal the seams for the arboretum and the windows, and continue on with the rest of the build. We'll just have to figure out how things go along and see how we can get all of these parts assembled together. Getting back to the other pieces I need to paint before putting the hangar bay together, I've managed to fashion a bracket so that I can hold the pieces in place to paint them and not have them fly all over the place. I took a piece of copper wire and fashioned a little bracket to hold the part in place in the air so that when I paint it, all of the edges and everything are covered properly with the first coat of primer that I'm going to be putting on these. Part of building models is just getting creative and fashioning up the tools that you need to get the job done. So this is my attempt at doing just that. Alright, so I just finished painting the first coat of primer. Because of the weather, I'm getting a little bit of crinkling on the primer, which I'll have to wait for it to dry and then resand it and then try again before I can continue. The bracket that I fashioned came out pretty well and it held the piece in place. I was able to paint it with no problems. All I have to do now is wait for these parts to dry out and then we can sand them and then put the first coat of white paint on them so that I can start wiring up the LEDs that are going to go on the hangar bay entrance. The next challenge of this puzzle will be working on the clear parts that are going to go on the hangar bay. These need to be painted with clear paint, and there's some details and things that are going to be going on them that are going to be so difficult to paint because these parts are so small. I should have been a watch repair guy in another life, so maybe that will help with the training of getting these things painted. Next time we come back, we'll be showing you the outcome of how these things turned out so that I can continue on with the rest of the build and continue wiring the assemblies. That about wraps it up for this update. We'll see you around next time.